What does it mean to you? Who wants to tell me? What did y'all say? Bentley, what did y'all say? Okay, Longhorn. Hayden, what did y'all say? Speak. There's no wrong answer. Exactly. To have interest in something, like I'm interested in basketball, or I'm interested in football, whatever. Did anybody else use any other form of that word, interest? Brayden.
That's like put interest into like a business.
Okay, so like you're kind of like investing in a business? Perfect. Give me another one. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, like you're interested, like you want to buy it, you're interested in buying it. I got you.
Interested in something in life.
So those are all the same, those three right there are the same type of interested. How about another way? Kennedy?
Like if you take out a loan, you have to pay back with interest.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. And that's okay. And she stole it. Hey, I asked you to answer earlier, okay? That's, all of those are correct, but the one that we're most interested in today is the math one, is about interest, okay? All right, guys. So, the tests have not been graded, haven't even touched them. We just now figured out how we're going to grade them, so maybe later today, okay? All right, guys, get ready to pick up notes. Okay, here we go. So, here's the first word, interest. We're not going to put what we like, what we're interested in. Instead, we're going to say it's money paid at a certain rate. You ever write something down and you're like, that just looks weird. Well, we're certain that doesn't look right to me. For the use of money. What does that mean? It's like a loan, right? That's where it could be. Or a loan is one way. Can anybody think of another instance where you might see interest? In fact, a lot of y'all might have one of these at the bank, where it might collect interest. Anybody? One person still? Like a savings account. Well, let's talk about that, because that seems kind of strange. It's a money paid for the use of money. Okay, so let's think about that. If you take out a loan, who's using the money? You are, right? You took out a loan, okay? So you borrowed $20 from me, right? If you borrowed $20 from me, then you're using my money, right? So when I ask you to give it to me back, you're going to give it to me back plus interest. Okay. Where was I? Taking out a loan from me, right? So then you owe me my $20 back plus some interest, okay? But now let's talk about the savings account. Whose money is that? It's your money, right? And you're putting it in the bank to let it sit there, right? And then who is using the money?
No one.
Technically, if it's sitting in the bank, did you know that they can use your money?
Yeah.
Right, and that's why they want to pay you interest. They're saying, hey, come put your money in our bank right now, and we're going to pay you a tiny, it's not very much, it's like a tiny percent of interest, but they're saying, hey, come put your money in our bank, and while your money is sitting there, they're going to use it to run their business and do whatever they need to do. So that's why we say for the use of money. It just depends on who's using it. In a loan, you're the one that's using it, so they're going to pay interest. And in a savings account, the bank is the one that's using it, so they're going to pay you interest, okay? Is that helpful? Okay. All right, interest rate. Interest rate is the percent of a loan or investment, so like a savings account, charged or paid. So what's the only difference between interest and interest rate? Because those kind of sounded the same to me. What's the only difference? Yeah, one is just the money, and one is what? a percent. Okay, so be careful. All right, what about that last word, principal? Did they mean Miss Harper? No. What do they mean? What do you think it is? Well, so far, I gave the example when I said if you borrow money from me, then you're going to owe me my $20 plus the interest I charge you, right? One of those was principal. The original amount, that's right. Okay, it's the amount borrowed or invested. Okay, so in my example, that would be the $20. Or if you have $100 in a savings account, that's the principal. Okay, everybody good so far? Now, if you're like me, these words really don't mean much until we actually use them, okay, in a problem. And then you're like, oh, okay, I get it. All right, so to find the amount of interest, it says to use the interest rate or the percent to find the amount being charged as interest. You're going to use a proportion. Yay, we know that one. Or multiply by the decimal. We know that one too. This is the amount of interest paid in 1 year. That is super important, in 1 year. Okay? Why would that be important? What do you think? If I said, it took you 3 years to pay me back, then you're going to have to take that interest amount and then multiply it by 3 years because it took you so long to pay. You see what I'm saying? Because the longer you take out that loan, the more interest you have to pay. Does that make sense? Okay. What if it only took you 1 month instead of 1 year? Then you would say it again? You would divide by 12 because there's what? 12 months in a year. Okay? All right. We're going to multiply the interest amount by the number of years to find the total amount of interest. Okay, again, I think this makes more sense when we actually do it. Here we go. It says to calculate the interest. The principal was $2,000. We have an interest rate of 6%, and it's over 4 years. Okay, so let's pretend this is like a loan. You're taking out a $2,000 loan with an interest rate of 6% for 4 years. So what's one way we could figure out this 6%?
2,000 times 0.06.
Okay, we could use our multiplication, so we would say 2,000 times 0.06. And that we've been doing for quite a while, right? Okay, so this is $120. Let's label that. Interest for what? How long is that? 1 year. Now what? They want to know for 4 years. So what would you do? Times 4, which would just be how much? What? Thank you. 480 total interest. Okay? And that's where I would stop because they only wanted the interest. Is everybody with me so far? Would y'all like me to do it with a proportion, or do y'all want to stick with this one? Anybody want to do a proportion? Okay. Let's look at the next one. Actually, you know what? Why don't y'all do the next one while I do attendance real quick. If you're home, pause the video. Let's see. So if I did 400 times 0.03, I got $12. What is that? That's right. That is the interest for 1 year. But they wanted for 3 years. So that would be $36 total interest. Okay? Is everybody good so far? What? $12. Uh-huh. Everybody good so far? Okay, so now let's look at it in a real world with a situation. Okay? Not my made up situations. Isaiah borrowed $1,500 for a used car. He plans to pay back the loan in 3 years. His interest rate is 8%. How much will he pay back in interest? So is this any different than what we were just doing? No. So we've got 1,500. What are we going to do with that? 0.08, good. And I get 120.
Times 3.
And now what? Times 3 years would be how much? $360. So the question says, how much will he pay back in interest? That answer would be $360. Now let's look at the next question. The next question says, what will be the total amount that he'll pay back? Well, how do you get that? We haven't talked about that. How do you get that? Total amount? Right, because remember I said you borrowed my 20 bucks, right? So when you pay me back, you're going to give me my original 20 plus the interest. Does that make sense? So right here, if he borrowed $1,500, well, he's got to first pay back that original $1,500, right? But then he's going to pay back also the $360 in interest. So if you want to write that down, that's the loan plus the interest equals the total amount. Is everybody good so far? Yeah? Okay, we're going to pause there for just a second. Does anybody have your math chart handy? And you can pull out your math chart? Okay. On the math chart, if we look at the bottom, it says simple interest. Hey, looky there. Isn't that what we're talking about? Then it says I equals PRT. Now, we've talked about this chart in the past, and we said it's helpful only if what? Say it again. Yeah, but it's helpful, like I wrote that down, but this is only helpful if what? If what? Do we know what these means?
No.
So it's not helpful yet. It's only helpful if I know what the letters mean. Do you think it's going to take us very long to figure out these letters? Probably not, guys. So on your paper, you'll have some space. Ugh, not very much. How about right here on the side? On the side. Somewhere you've got some space, okay? Write this down. I equals PRT. What do you think the letter I stands for? Interest. What do you think the letter P stands for? Principal. What do you think the letter R stands for? Rate. That's exactly right. And then what could T possibly be? No? Let's look back and see what we did here. Time. That's exactly right. Okay? So now, you don't have to write this down if you don't want to, but let's talk about one of these problems that we already did, because it was easy. 2,000, 6%, 4 years, right? 2,000, 6%, 4 years. Okay? Let's plug it into this formula. So I, or interest, that's what we're looking for, right? Equals, what was the principal? Hello? Thank you. 2,000. What was the rate? 6%, but what am I going to write it down as? 0.06. Remember, because when I'm going to start doing math with it, I want to change it to a decimal. I hope you're paying attention. And then T is what? 4. What does this mean when they're all sitting next to each other? It just means to multiply. Y'all, we do it in one step here versus over here where we did it in 2. Is it any different? No, it's totally the same. So either way you want to do it. If you want to use the formula, great. If you want to do it the way we were doing it, great. It doesn't matter. But y'all, on the formula chart underneath simple interest, what do y'all see? Those of you that have it out. Compound interest. We're going to get to compound interest in the spring. So right now we only are responsible for simple. Okay? Okay. So number 4, let's do this one together. On the back of your paper. Number 4 is where we're going. Here we go. It says, Austin loaned his brother $20. Oh, look at there. and asked him to pay him back in 3 months. He's going to charge him 4% interest. Austin is excited about all extra money he will make in interest. Is he correct to be so excited? Show your work. Well, let's see. So I'm going to use the new fancy formula because I like it and I think it's easier, and you will too once you've worked with it. Okay? What is the principal? $20. Perfect. What is the rate? 4%. So 4% is what? 0.04. Don't forget to switch that, okay? Now, what's the time though? 3 months. And if you remember back over here when I said this is going to be super, super important that it's that 1 year. Well, what is 3 months? 3 months is what fraction of a year? Oops. Well, really, it's 3 out of 12 because there's 12 months in a year, right? So 3/12 is the same as what fraction? 1. I heard somebody. 1/4. 1/4. That's a benchmark decimal. What's that? Say it again. 0.25. So that's the amount of time. Okay, so now we can go ahead and do our work, right? So 20 times 0.04. I get 80 cents. And then 0.25 times 0.8. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So the answer is how much?
It's
20 what? 20 cents. So the question said, is he correct to be so excited?
no.
Why not? Because he only made 20 cents. You see what I'm saying? He was like, oh yes, I'm going to get all this interest. And then yes, he got some interest, but because it was only for 3 months, 4%, it really wasn't. So I would say, no, not excited. I mean, unless you're excited about 20 cents, you gotta go. Thank you. So, do you guys see how using that formula works? Yeah. So look at number 3. I highlighted 6 months on number 3. Okay. What about that one? Why don't you guys try that one with a partner? Victoria borrowed $500 for college textbooks. The interest rate was 6%. She plans to pay back her loan in 6 months. How much will she pay in interest? And then there's a second question. What will be the total amount that she pays back? Okay. Give that one a try. Your home pause. So 6 months, I can't put 6 months, but I can put 1/2, which would be 0.5, yes? Okay, so 500 times 0.06 would be $30, right? Times 0.5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the amount of interest he would have to pay is $15. Did you guys get that?
Yeah.
Good. What about the second question? What will the total amount be that she pays back?
You add 515.
515. Did everybody get that?
Yeah.
Because you have to pay the original textbook loan plus that interest. Is everybody good? Yes? Are we okay? Okay. Guys, there are now 4 questions remaining on this paper. These 4 questions, y'all still have almost 15 minutes or more than 15 minutes to do it, and then you won't have any homework. So you understand? Because this is it. Okay?